Welcome back to another sew-along. Today I'm sewing the Kite Pants from Matchy Matchy Sewing Club. These pants are all about effortless style and beginner-friendly sewing. With their high-waisted ankle-length fit and softly curved leg, the Kite Pants give you that modern, relaxed barrel shape that feels comfortable and looks chic. I'll be making view A in this gorgeous port blue club-striped washed linen, also from Matchy Matchy. It's lightweight, breathable, and a perfect fabric for stripe play. Like all Matchy Matchy patterns, the Kite Pants are built with simple shapes and straightforward construction, so you can dive right in without feeling overwhelmed. This pattern includes playful details like side insets, roomy pockets, and an elastic waistband, making it great for everyday wear and for experimenting with color blocking or patchwork. In this tutorial, I'll walk you step by step through the sewing process so you can confidently create your own pair of kite pants. So grab your fabric, get comfortable, and let's start sewing together. Here is one of my back pocket pieces, and I'm going to finish the curved edge. Fold the top raw edge of the back pocket to the wrong side by 1/2 inch, and give that fold a good press. Then turn this to the right side. And fold that top edge once more to the right side, this time by 1 inch. Now that we have both of those folds pressed in place, we're going to sew from that top folded edge to the bottom raw edge with a 1/2 inch seam allowance along the curve. Turn the top edge right side out and poke out the top corner. Repress that top folded edge. Edge stitch close to the bottom inner fold with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Press the finished outer edges of the pocket to the wrong side by 1/2 inch, right along our previous stitching line. Place the wrong side of your back pocket onto the right side of the corresponding back pant piece, aligning the notches and the raw edges and pin in place. We're going to sew basting stitches along the outer raw edges just to hold that edge in place. Along the folded back inner curve of the pocket, we're going to sew that to the back pant piece with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Place your front pocket piece right sides together with the corresponding front pant piece. Pin the small curved edge. Sew the pinned curve of the 1/2 inch seam allowance. Turn the pocket over its seam allowance and give that edge a good press. Sew the pocket to its seam allowance underneath with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. Then we'll flip that understitched pocket to the inside and give that seam a good press. Top stitch the curved pocket opening with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Bring that front pocket piece back out so that the right side of the fabric is facing you, and place your front pocket B piece right sides together with the front pocket, aligning the curved edge and pin in place. Sew these pieces together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and finish the raw edges together. Pin the side and top edges of the pant to the pocket and baste in place with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Place the side pant piece right sides together with the corresponding front pant piece and pin in place, aligning the notches. Sew this seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, finish the raw edges together, and press the seam allowance toward the side panel. Now with that seam allowance pressed toward the side panel piece, we're going to top stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Top stitching along the side panel side, catching the seam allowance from top to bottom as we go. Place your back pant piece right sides together with the side panel and pin in place along the long edge. Sew this seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, finish the raw edges together and press the seam allowance toward the side panel, in the same way as we did to attach the front pant piece to the side panel previously. So here are my front and back pieces on the inside attached to the side panel with those seam allowances pressed toward the side panel on both sides. And we're going to top stitch that back pant seam to the side panel in the same way as we did for the front pant seam. Sewing that seam allowance to the side panel with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Place these connected front and back pant pieces right sides together along the inseam. Pin the inseam. Sew the inseam from top to bottom with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, finish the raw edges together and press the seam toward the back pant piece. Repeat all of these steps to create a duplicate set of front and back pant pieces and pockets. With one set turned right side out and the other wrong side out, place the pant that's right side out into the pant that's wrong side out. Align the crotch curve and pin in place. Sew this curved seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and finish the raw edges together, then press that seam toward one side. Fold your waistband piece in half lengthwise, wrong sides together to form a memory crease. Repeat for both waistband pieces, then open them back out. Place them right sides together and pin the side seams. Sew both side seams with a 1/2 inch seam allowance and press the seams open. Turn up and press the bottom raw edge of the waistband to the wrong side by 3/8 of an inch all the way around. Place the raw unfolded edge of the waistband right sides together with the top raw edge of the pant. Align the seams of the waistband with the front and back seams of the pant. Pin in place all the way around. Sew the waistband to the top of the pant all the way around with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Turn the waistband upward along the seam that we just sewed and give that seam a good press. Then we'll fold our waistband in half along the original pressed crease so that the folded edge of that 3/8 of an inch bottom fold just covers the stitching line. Pin that bottom edge in place from the outer right side of the fabric all the way around. Now that we have our waistband seam pinned all the way around and we've caught that inner folded edge of the waistband in our pinning, we're going to sew just above the waistband seam all the way around. Start and stop your stitching on either side of the center back seam so that you leave a gap of about 2 inches so that we can insert the elastic. Cut a length of 1.5 inch wide elastic to fit comfortably around your waist plus 3/4 of an inch. Secure one short end of the elastic. Then lace the elastic through the opening you left in the back of your waistband. Once you've laced the elastic through, overlap the short ends of the elastic by 3/4 of an inch and sew a rectangle around those short edges. Then we can pull the elastic entirely inside the waistband and sew closed the gap in your stitches along the original stitching line. Pull the elastic within the casing to distribute it evenly. Then we're going to top stitch in 4 areas: center front, center back, and at equal points along the sides. Just stitching vertically along the waistband to secure the elastic in place and prevent it from twisting. To hem the bottom raw edges of the pants, we're going to fold the raw edge to the wrong side by 1/2 inch, then once more by an additional 1 inch all the way around. Then we'll sew that pressed up hem in place along the inner bottom fold with an 1/8 inch seam allowance. And now your pants are complete. Thank you for watching this sew along. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future sewing tutorials, and I'll see you in the next video.